Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, Deputy Commissioner of Operations for the Pennsylvania State Police. Over my right shoulder is Franklin County District Attorney Ian Brink. It's our goal today to discuss a critical incident which occurred yesterday in Franklin County involving the Pennsylvania State Police. I will attempt to give a very high-level briefing of the order of events. I will attempt to give an update on the condition of our two troopers. I will then turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, who will give us an operational rundown of where we are in the investigation, and then he will turn it over to District Attorney Brink, the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Franklin County. So yesterday's incident began at approximately 6:15 p.m., where a report of retail theft occurred at Dick's Sporting Goods, located at 1320 Lincoln Highway East in Guilford Township, Franklin County. A description of the actors and the vehicle was broadcast as a result, a gold Chevrolet Express van. A short time later, on Interstate 81, multiple troopers were able to identify the vehicle and pursue it. There were two separate attempts to deploy stop sticks in that pursuit, or tire deflation devices. The second attempt was successful on the Chevy van, and that occurred in the area of Exit 3 on Interstate 81 southbound. The incident ended on the off-ramp of Interstate 81, Exit 3, basically right in the grassy area at the bottom of the ramp. Inside of the Chevy Express van were one driver and two female occupants. Troopers attempted to conduct a felony car stop, and as a result, there was a fierce gunfight that occurred, during which time two of our troopers were shot. The first trooper who was shot is Trooper Thomas Pack, P-A-C-K. He is 23 years of age. He enlisted in the Pennsylvania State Police in June of 2024. The second trooper who was shot was Trooper Lucas Amorose, A-M-A-R-O-S-E, age 31. He enlisted in 2017. Trooper Amorose is married. As a result of their injuries, they were life-flighted to WellSpan York Hospital. I can confirm that Trooper Pack was shot multiple times. I can confirm that Trooper Amorose was also shot multiple times. Their conditions: Trooper Pack at this hour has been released, continues to recover at home. Trooper Amorose was listed overnight in critical but stable condition. He had multiple hours of additional surgery today. His condition currently has been upgraded to serious, but he continues to recover at WellSpan York coming out of that most recent procedure. A word about the incident itself. In the immediate aftermath, from a training perspective, the use of tourniquets, here again, we believe, was a critical piece in our troopers surviving. The use of ballistic trauma first aid kits was also critical, and I cannot say enough about the way that our two troopers who were struck, but additional troopers who were involved and others who arrived at the scene immediately thereafter, how that was able to preserve the life of our two troopers. The actor, as we released last evening and we'll hear more about shortly, was killed as a result of this gunfight. Several things that I have to mention. To the first responders who were there for us, to our law enforcement partners, to the flight crews that flew our troopers to WellSpan York, to the medical professionals, doctors, nurses, everyone at WellSpan York who helped save our people, the Pennsylvania State Troopers Association, and even members of the public, to include a Good Samaritan who was an off-duty doctor who stopped in the immediate aftermath of this gunfight to help preserve some first aid for our people. We cannot say thank you enough. It is not lost on me, as I stand here today, that since becoming the Commissioner of the State Police in January of 2023, these two troopers represent the 7th and 8th troopers shot in those intervening 34 months. Additionally, since August 7th across Pennsylvania, they represent the 8th and 9th law enforcement officers who have been shot across this Commonwealth. I would lastly, before I turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, like to ask you for the continued thoughts and prayers of not only our troopers, but their families, their significant others, spouse, extended family. It's a terribly traumatic event. I can tell you that last night I spoke to both of them. They were conscious, in very good spirits, and I can't say enough about how they performed during this incident, but also how their fellow troopers and our law enforcement partners performed. It's with a great sense of pride that I say that, and it's with a great sense of thankfulness that we are not here planning 2 line-of-duty funerals. Lastly, before I turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, the procedural posture of where we are is that we're conducting a joint investigation with the Franklin County District Attorney's Office and the PSP Major Case Team. It's within the authority of the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in District Attorney Brink to conduct a full, fair, competent, and thorough investigation into this matter. And I will now turn it over to Lieutenant Colonel Bivens to give you an operational rundown, and then he will turn it over to District Attorney Brink. Thank you very much.